Just going through the motion of taking classes, getting a good GPA is not going to be enough. I'm giving you some internship strategies, and I'm also giving you some other things that are a little bit outside the box.
This is the Work in Sports Podcast.
Happy 2023, everybody. We're kicking it off with a bang. We've got a great lineup of guests coming in January. Started to do a lot of really great interviews. We're booking people like crazy, but Monday episodes, I don't know, sometimes they are my absolute favorite because we get in these great questions and it gives us a chance to dig into exactly what you need. As a reminder to everybody listening, in January, we always get a lot of new listeners, which I love. Thank you for coming in. Welcome here. This is a great community. On Mondays, we always answer a fan question. You write in, you have something you want to learn, I'm going to go deep dive on it. I'm going to really dig in, and you'll see that today. We have a great question that came from Mickey at the University of Georgia, and we're going to dive in deep to that today. But I want to let you all know you can participate in the same way. As a listener, you can email me, bclapp@workinsports.com. You can message me on Twitter @workinsports. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and message me there. Send in your questions. We want to have these deep dive conversations on Monday that really tackle an issue that is pressing in your sports employment world. That's what we're here for. So let's dig into Mickey's question because I really like it.
Hey, Brian. My name is Mickey, and I'm a freshman in college who intends to work in sports. Currently, I'm working with my school's football team in recruiting and with the Athletic Association's promotion/fan engagement department. I really want to find an internship for the summer to continue to gain experience, but I feel as if I've hit a wall since there are such limited options for freshman internships. It seems like everywhere will only take a junior or a senior. So are there any tricks or tips that you have for younger students that are looking for experience? Or should I wait it out until I'm a junior and have more options?
Mickey, this is a great question. I'm glad that you're asking it, and I'm glad that as a freshman, you are thinking big picture about your career and your journey towards working in sports. I want everybody listening to absorb this information because this idea of acquiring skills, of acquiring knowledge, of acquiring experience is exactly what your frame of mind should be right now. As I've said many times in the show before, just going through the motion of taking classes, getting a good GPA is not going to be enough. We need to focus you to a point so that when you reach your senior year, you have things like career clarity and skills that match and experiences that match. So let me go a little bit deeper there. What I see a lot of people doing, and Mickey, I'm not assuming that this is what you're doing, but I just want to be really clear here. You are very much looking ahead to how do I gain the next layer of experience, which is so important. But at the same time, I want to make sure that you and everybody else are taking time after each experience, after each internship, and really digesting what that was. What did it mean? What did you like? Who did you meet? What did you not like? Because an internship without somewhat of a process to analyze and break down the information that you just received is somewhat useless. Yes, you will have experience, but does it fit who you want to be? Does it alter your next decision? Does it help you decide where you want to focus? Does it let you lean into new skills? That's what's important. You have to go through this continual process of evaluating the experience you're getting. So for example, let's say you started out and you do this amazing PR internship and you're in public relations and you're like, okay, that was a really good opportunity. I didn't like it.
No, don't like that.
You have to then absorb that. Why didn't I like it? What was it I didn't like? I didn't like the writing. I didn't like the working with the media. I didn't like the this or the that. Then absorb that information, figure out what that means for your next step. Where do you want to pivot to next? I don't want everybody thinking like, I have to do 8 internships while I'm in college. I'm just going to do them. Bang, 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 bang.
Bang, 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 you're done.
You need to be intentional about each one of these steps. Think of it like a funnel. When you're a freshman, it's really wide at the top. And when you're a senior, it's got to start to narrow down to a point where you're getting career clarity and gaining focus. Because you can't enter your senior year and start applying for jobs and just be a generalist. Everything interests me. I just want to work in sports. We want to get you to a point where you figured out what you love, what really motivates you, those things that you are acquiring skills and finding enjoyment from. And then you can start to make decisions that are for your career and apply for those jobs where your skills match. So, Mickey, your process right now, you're still at that wide part of the funnel. You're gaining experience and gaining perspective. But just as much as I want you to think about the next opportunity, I also want you to think about what has this opportunity meant for you? What did you learn about yourself through this process? because that makes your next step that much more intentional, and that's important. So I just want to give a little bit of big picture experience there. Take some time to consider, to think, to digest the information and experience, and make sure that you then adjust to your next step. Now, next thing, Mickey is doing an internship her freshman year at the University of Georgia Athletic Department. Everybody out there listening who is also a college freshman should be asking themselves right now, why am I not working at my college athletic department? Because you should be. That is your first and best opportunity. It's right there. You have an in because you're a student, and athletic departments, university athletic departments run like big businesses, especially University of Georgia. Are you kidding me? You're working in recruiting as a freshman at the University of Georgia. You're getting incredible real world experience. You're meeting people that have worked really hard to get to this point of their career. They probably worked at 5 other colleges to get to University of Georgia. Please understand where you are right now is extremely valuable. Make sure you are networking. Make sure you are talking to those people that are doing things that interest you and saying, how did you get to this point? Because that's a successful step in most people's career to get to University of Georgia Athletic Department. You're surrounded by those people that got there. Ask them questions. How did you get here? What was your process? What really motivates you about working in this side of the industry? Why do you love college athletics? Because not only are you trying to gain experience, Mickey, you're also trying to gain perspective. You're trying to understand what it means to work in this world of sports. The fact that you're looking at it as a freshman and saying, what's next? You're what we call a dynamic go-getter. Because those people that are extremely driven to work in the sports industry are going to want to see our job board. They're going to want to read about opportunities. They're going to want to use all the tools to maximize their resume, build their network, learn interviewing skills, listen to the podcast, download an ebook, all those things that we provide, all these different tools and assets to help you in your career. They're going to use our iMatch technology. They're going to score their resume. So Mickey, you are a dynamic go-getter. Congratulations. So you're right. Your concern at the top was that a lot of the organizations for internships are looking for juniors and seniors. You're right. But I want to give you a little bit of a tip here. Your experience of being a freshman, looking for a summer internship, and maybe having places say, we only accept juniors and seniors, that's real. But that tends to be more at the big organizations and the big teams. You need to kind of consider taking a step back from the University of Georgia athletic department and looking at other opportunities that are different and on a smaller scale. And I mean minor league sports. I mean smaller college programs, smaller marketing agencies, considering just even smaller and fringe sports. They all have the same needs, but they have much smaller staffs. So they will use and accept interns, even if they're not juniors and seniors. So think about those as opportunities to start to look at where you can make your next step. You should be looking right now at minor league sports teams in your area. Look at minor league baseball. Look at the G League. Look at ECHL, AHL. Look at the XFL. These are emerging leagues and opportunities. And if that's not necessarily where your interest is, look at smaller sports agencies. Look at smaller marketing agencies. These are firms that are doing a lot but don't have a lot of help. They're not going to be as resistant to somebody who's an underclassman. They're going to look for somebody who has real interest and drive, and that sounds like you. So look to those opportunities because those internships still do exist for those. I think there's 3 things overlapping here: experience, building your brand, and networking. And all of these activities that I'm going to talk about next, there's a layer of all of those. And I hope that you look at your internships the same way. There is a networking component in there. There is a branding component in there. And there's an experience component in there. And you're doing all 3 if you do it right. But a couple other ideas will help you along the way. It has never been easier to start to be a digital journalist or a digital marketer. Start a blog and interview people in the industry. Now, you might not want to be a writer. You might not want to be a content creator. That's okay. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter who we are.
It's not the only reason this is valuable. You could launch a blog tomorrow and you could start to reach out to people on LinkedIn that are interesting to you and on your career path, or people that you think would be interesting to talk to. It's not about traffic and people seeing the content you create. You're building your brand. You're sharing things on your LinkedIn profile that you're working on. You're building a portfolio, and you're meeting and networking people. I worked in the sports industry for 15 years before I started doing our podcast. And I've met a lot more people from doing this podcast. People at every team, every league. I know them from doing these conversations.
I know him.
So that's an opportunity that's so easy to stand up and do. WordPress is so simple. So consider doing something like that to help to build your brand. You can join industry-specific associations. Being involved in industry groups presents a really unique opportunity to learn from people actually working and making an impact in the sports industry. I'm looking at the Association of Women in Sports Media, National Sports Marketing Network, Sports and Fitness Industry Association. There are so many different groups that you can join, get access to speaker series, networking events, research, career resources, and you can put that sort of stuff on your resume, especially your early version of your resume, and it shows an aptitude and a curiosity about the industry. And experience isn't just you actually doing the things. Sometimes it is learning from somebody who's doing it, and these present a great way to do that. Volunteering, another idea. Most of the time an internship is 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 months, right? That's a big commitment, 20, 30, whatever hours per week. Well, you can volunteer a lot more often, and you can do it often in a weekend. We're heading into a bit of an economic downturn, it appears. If that's the case, a lot of events that are road races, golf events, bike races, things that happen once a year, festivals, things of that nature, they're going to need more help because they might not be able to hire as much full-time staff. And they tend to look for volunteers. And now, if they don't have as much staff, they're going to give you real work to do. And it might be over a weekend. It might be a 4-day kind of thing. And so you can really start to build up, again, the visuals of your brand, because now more people are going to know you. But on top of that, your resume is also going to show, look at all the ways that I've been involved in the sports industry. Much better and more impactful than, I worked at the mall where I was working in a restaurant as a waitress. Like,
You worked at All American Burger.
7 months ago.
I knew it.
doing these things, little volunteering events, can help to build up your sports profile and in turn your resume. Job shadowing is another way. It's kind of like doing an volunteer opportunity. It can be a short-term, day kind of thing, but there are a lot of people that job shadow. Now, it got a lot harder over COVID. Obviously, nobody was doing that. Nobody was even going into the office, but it's starting to warm back up again, and people are starting to get into this concept. Don't be too forceful because some people are still uncomfortable, but unlike an internship, getting an opportunity to job shadow with someone in the sports industry may only last a day, just a few hours, but walking beside someone as they do their job and being able to ask some questions can be hugely beneficial. So, give you an example. Let's say you wanted to work in media relations. You do a little bit of research into the local pro team's communication department, find the staff's contact information. You craft a quick email, shortened to the point, saying, I'd really like to work in this field. I'm doing some internships this summer. I've been interning at the Georgia Athletic Association, but I'd like to get a little bit more experience of what it means to work in media relations. Any chance I might be able to job shadow? I promise I won't be intrusive. I think it's best to contact people during the off season when it's not as busy. So if it's baseball season, you don't want to do it when spring training starts. You want to do it before that, or before that to set it up for later in the season. I know my friend Don Castante, who works in game presentation for the Royals, used to love people to come and job shadow with him. He used to invite people all the time. They'd bring him into the booth and he'd show them what it was like to actually produce events. So it's a little harder. It's not as common as it used to be, but it still can be a great opportunity to visualize this world. I remember doing one when I was in college, and it was the first way that I felt like this is what I want to do, because I was living it and seeing it. And I was in the production truck for a boxing event at the Philadelphia Spectrum, which doesn't exist anymore. But nonetheless, I was in the truck, I was watching the production happen live, and I was like, this is amazing. This is what I want to be a part of. So job shadowing can be a really effective opportunity. The last thing I want to give you, Mickey, too, is to seek out leadership opportunities. Again, you're building your resume and brand out with experience and skills and networking and personal branding, but you can also elevate your soft skills, and that means things like leadership. So if you can be involved in student and community organizations and maybe start to work yourself into a leadership position, these are the sort of things that send a signal to employers to say, here's somebody with a dynamic go-getter who also has emerging leadership skills and abilities. She's been in it, doing it at these organizations. So these are really great signals in how HR people and hiring managers like myself look for the nuanced moments in resumes. We see so many resumes and cover letters and et cetera. And sometimes you have certain things you look for, and involvement in groups and leadership positions is definitely something I and other people look for because it shows you have a desire to be a leader and to grow in that realm. So there's a lot of different ways to build experience. And I know that's what you're looking for. I'm giving you some internship strategies, and I'm also giving you some other things that are a little bit outside the box, and I hope that's helpful. This is there for everybody. These are ways for you to build your profile, build your brand. But I really want to hammer into the point too. The closer you get to your senior year of college or to a point you need to make a career-focused decision, really start to hone in on, what do I love? What resonates with me? What have I been enjoying? What makes me feel good? And start to develop skills in those areas that make you as marketable as possible. Start to choose internships in that direction. So you're not just choosing stuff to check the box and finish an assignment. You're really being intentional about this process so that by the time you graduate, you've got a skill set and experience that matches positions you want to go towards, not just a random Frankenstein assortment of stuff. Okay? Intentional approach is really important here. Thanks for listening to everybody. I think we're going to do a Monday episode on a Wednesday later this week. There's a lot of questions that have been coming in, and I want to help you guys. So I'm going to answer another question on Wednesday. These are fun. Please keep sending in your questions. Love having you here. Let's kick off 2023 with a bang.
Fires away. Bang! It's over!
And I'll see you on Wednesday.